The strange thing about Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird is that it never really leaves you. You finish the last page, close the book, and yet the story lingers like a shadow that follows you down the street. Decades after its publication, the novel still unsettles, still provokes, still whispers uncomfortable truths about who we are and who we pretend to be. And that haunting quality is exactly why it remains one of the most important American stories ever written. At its core, Mockingbird is a confrontation with innocence. Scout Finch begins the novel believing the world is orderly, fair, and understandable. She trusts adults. She trusts institutions. She trusts that right and wrong are clear. But the trial of Tom Robinson shatters that illusion. Through Scout's eyes, we witness the moment a child realizes that the world is not built on justice, but on power, prejudice, and fear. That moment is universal. Every one of us remembers when we first realized that the world could be cruel. Harper Lee captures that transition with such precision that it feels like she is writing about our own childhoods. The haunting comes from the fact that the book refuses to let us stay innocent. Atticus Finch, often held up as a symbol of moral courage, is not a superhero. He is a man who does the right thing in a town determined to do the wrong one. His bravery is quiet, steady, and deeply human, and that is what makes him unsettling. He forces us to ask whether we would stand up the way he does. Would we defend someone society has already condemned? Would we risk reputation, comfort, and safety for the sake of principle? The novel never answers that for us. It simply leaves the question hanging. Tom Robinson's fate is the part of the story that echoes longest. It is not just tragic, it is inevitable. Harper Lee shows us a system so deeply poisoned by racism that truth becomes irrelevant. Tom's innocence is obvious. His humanity is undeniable. Yet none of that matters. The verdict is decided long before the trial begins, and that is why the book still feels contemporary. We read it today and recognize the same patterns in our own world. Different names, different headlines, different circumstances, but the same machinery of injustice grinding forward. Even Boo Radley, the quiet phantom of the neighborhood, becomes a symbol of how fear distorts reality. The children imagine him as a monster, but he turns out to be the gentlest soul in the story. Harper Lee reminds us that the people we fear are often the ones we understand the least, and the people we trust are sometimes the ones we should question. That reversal is part of the novel's lingering power. It forces us to confront our assumptions, our biases, and the stories we tell ourselves about others. Ultimately, To Kill a Mockingbird haunts us because it exposes the gap between who we want to be and who we are. It shows us a society that fails to live up to its ideals and then quietly asks whether we are doing any better. The book does not offer comfort. It offers clarity, and clarity, especially about injustice, is rarely comfortable. If you love exploring literature that challenges, unsettles, and transforms, join me on Literature Literally. We dive deep into the stories that shape us, the narratives that refuse to fade, and the books that still speak to our world today. Subscribe and be part of a community that reads bravely and thinks boldly.